witness the process of EU democracy, legislating over the detail of every aspect of life within EU states, often with voting schedules so intense that they abandon electronic voting with the inevitable chaos and mistakes.
No amendments in favour, against, abstentions, as carried. Congratulations to the rapporteur. Next, Mr. Blockland's report, batteries and accumulators, and waste batteries and accumulators. So, proposal for a directive. 2 amendments, 2 blocks. Block 1, compromise, all in favour. Against, abstentions, as carried.
Yesterday we had the President of the Parliament tell us that it was acceptable to make a number of mistakes in getting the vote wrong because we're voting so fast it's impossible to see how people are voting anyway. Can you please slow down?
Dear colleagues, well, let me just show you what we've got to get through today. I'm sorry, but, we're never going to get through it if we don't proceed apace.
This is hardly the way a democratic organisation should conduct its business, let alone one that controls a union of states governing around 500 million people. The level of subterfuge can be revealed by studying the comments of the authors of the Constitution. Valéry Giscard d'Estaing is quoted as saying that public opinion will be led to adopt, without knowing it, the proposals that we dare not present to them directly. All the earlier proposals will be in the new text, but will be hidden and disguised. As the former Italian Prime Minister Giuliano Amato put it, the good thing about not calling it a constitution is no one can ask for a referendum on it. Nicolas Sarkozy is clear. The project of our founding fathers is complete. The economic union is becoming a political union. Gordon Brown presented a different view of the constitution. It is not as though this is being imposed on our country. People will have the chance to put their views.
Have you ever heard of the Lisbon Treaty?
I've heard of it, I don't know very much about it.
No. No, I haven't, no.
No. No, I haven't, no.
No. No, I haven't.
No. I have, but I don't know what it was about. I've heard of Lisbon, I've heard of a treaty, but not a Lisbon Treaty.
With the electorate now excluded from the process, the required politicians' signatures were all that was needed, some secured even before the treaty had been published.
Incredible. Prime ministers, foreign ministers, take a decision that a text they want to propagate as improved democracy should not be read by any citizen before it has been finally approved. Sign! Don't read. That's the message of the prime ministers and the foreign ministers. In my view, it's illegal.
Mujahideen makeover. EU takes Iranian opposition group off its terrorist list.
In a move that Tehran has denounced as irresponsible, the European Union has said the People's Mujahideen Organization of Iran will be dropped from its list of banned terrorist organizations. This is the exiled Iranian opposition group that exposed Tehran's uranium enrichment program, against which Western dissuasion has proved fruitless. The decision by the EU's foreign ministers follows a number of EU court rulings against the organization's 7-year inclusion on the blacklist. One EU official said, "We're taking it out for procedural reasons."
2 amendments, 2 blocks. Block 1, compromise, all in favour. Against? Abstentions? That's carried.
A spokesman said the group should now have access to tens of millions of dollars of assets which have been frozen in Europe.
هزاران ایرانی آزاده در یک گرد همایی بزرگ که با حضور رئیس جمهور برگزیده مقاومت در مقابل مقر
Two amendments, two blocks. Block 1, compromise, all in favour. Against? Abstentions? That's carried.
I think we have to bite the bullet on the Israeli-Palestinian peace process because we are probably within the last year in which a two-state solution is still feasible. Anybody who looks at the topography of the country and what's been happening in the West Bank, and if one looks at demographics, one knows that that opportunity is slipping away. It's been slipping away for 41 years. It cannot continue slipping away on this or that excuse because one leadership is divided, another leadership is weak, or because something happens painfully on a human scale, but on a minuscule scale, actually, when the numbers are considered. And the only way this conflict will be resolved if the parties are helped to resolve it. And the only party that can help to resolve it, in the first instance, is the United States. And if the United States takes a clear position as to what are the essential fundamental elements of a basic settlement, I have no doubt that the rest of the world will endorse it almost unanimously. I cannot think of a country that will dissent. I think we are putting all Muslims into the same camp, which is a very counterproductive definition of the problem. It's like if you were talking about terrorism in Northern Ireland, you would always refer to it as Catholic terrorism and describe it as Catholic terrorism. Let's be very careful about Islam. Most Muslims are not extremists. Most Muslim governments are relatively moderate. There is an extremist fundamentalist challenge, but even not all of it is necessarily militantly directed against us. And let me give you a very specific and pertinent example. In Afghanistan, we're dealing with Al-Qaeda and with Taliban. The real problem politically in Afghanistan is the Taliban. Is the Taliban engaged in any acts of terrorism in Great Britain, or in Spain, or in France, or in the United States? The fact of the matter is, it is not. Al-Qaeda operated out of Afghanistan, and rather stupidly and counterproductively, the Taliban regime felt committed to some sort of code of honor in not handing them over to us. But there are two different problems we have there. One is Taliban, which is a genuine Afghan phenomenon, actually a Pashtun phenomenon, and Al-Qaeda, which is a worldwide oriented terrorist organization. They overlap, but they're not the same. We ought to be smart in taking advantage of that difference.